This is why you need to lock your doors tonight. This is why the darkness beckons. Welcome, brave souls, to the Nightmare Roadshow. Join us as we peel back the veil between reality and the abyss. Each episode, we explore chilling tales and haunted places that make your very spine tingle. Will you dare to listen, or will you turn away, leaving the shadows unexplored? Whisper, the choice is yours.
Hi.
Welcome to
Welcome.
welcome to another episode of Nightmare Road. I of course am one. Okay, sad thoughts. Your parents never loved you. I am of course one of. I of course am one of your hosts. I'm one of your. I'm one of your hosts, Beacon. I'm here with the very mysterious.
Yes.
Hey guys, look at this cool can. It's a collectible. It's got Street Fighter on it.
That is
Messy Jesse.
what?
Oh no, don't worry, I got this. Hey producer, can you cut this out? This isn't gonna work for us.
And we're here with the Oracle. Ash.
You call her the Orchidal?
I want to start over.
Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Hey everybody.
I can stop it
welcome.
and then re-record.
No, let's just go. Okay, here we go. Hey everybody, I of course am one of your hosts, Decon, here with the very, very mysterious. It looks like I'm wearing makeup. It was very mysterious.
SOS. And I'm here with
You know, when I was a kid,
oh God.
I got very, very sick with yellow fever. And I am actually wishing I could travel back in time where I can be there instead of here.
No, you don't.
Or I would rather
Go
go to
take a shot or something.
or I would rather go back to that one moment where my parents told me I was a huge disappointment.
We're with Messy Jesse. And Jess, who are we also with?
The Oracle.
Oracle.
Nightmare Road.
Ash.
Yeah,
Okay, let's just go.
Yeah, we had to start over because there was like giggling and all kinds of shit. So we decided, that's not very professional. So we have to actually like start it, so that people can see that we're good at what we do. And then here we are.
Well,
work face.
So what's today's topic?
Yeah.
We are talking about voodoo, and I know that we've talked about it before, but there's so much information on this voodoo and hoodoo.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy. Like there's obviously lots of books written about this. So we have specific, I think, like cases. Jesse, you had some cases, and
I just dived into like the top voodoo, and of course we talk about New Orleans, Marie Laveau.
That's my.
The best thing. There's three things you can get in New Orleans. You can get drunk, you can get beads, and you get
Herpes.
Possible.
What?
It's possible.
It's very possible, but you don't have to drag it down like that.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to go to New Orleans to get all those things. You can get that in Pocatello the way that it's going. You just get herpes, and then somebody, while you're drunk, and somebody just throws beads on you. They try to home alone you. Remember when you ripped the beads and then the bandits fell? They could just do that to you, and then they rob you and give you herpes.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. So voodoo is just one. Voodoo is just okay, guys, come on. Voodoo is just
I'm
one of
serious.
those topics where it's awesome because it arrived in this country in the 1800s along with the slave trade. And actually, it's not even really called voodoo. It actually comes from the language. Okay, guys, I watched a documentary a long time ago. So, it comes from a language in the Congo. It's pronounced Verdum or Vundu, and the language is called Fon. I believe Fon is now extinct or it became extinct within the last 60 years. Um, so it means
Is it
spirits.
Vondu? Like Vondu?
No, no, it's not.
Like,
No,
no. Okay.
no, not at
I was
all.
just curious.
No,
Okay.
no, incorrect. So
Cake thing. I don't know.
okay, we'll keep. So, anyways, so it arrived here with the slave trade, and what's interesting is that we look at it and we're like, what a weird and mysterious religion. If you go to places and some places in Africa where they still like practice, that's just the religion of the day, and they think that something like Christianity or Islam, all those kind of things are kind of strange, and when you look at something like voodoo, um, it's so they're so family oriented, because they believe that you're connecting with your ancestors, and
Bless
Sorry.
you. Good insight.
I'm sorry. Please proceed.
okay, thank you. Wow, thanks. Damn.
Yes, sir. It just came
Th-
into
th-
my nose.
Yeah,
Must have been some voodoo
yeah, it must
doll
have
that
been some
SOS
voodoo.
has over there.
Oh, yeah, and I'll talk about voodoo dolls in a minute. So, anyways, so they're so family like oriented, and they believe that their ancestors give them like guidance in everything. So much so that a lot of people will actually bury their relatives and their family members in their living room. Just like
I heard that.
God.
yep, like yeah. Well, it's because like you want to be
Like,
super close to these people, so yeah. So they bury them. And another thing with voodoo dolls is what's interesting. Sorry, I'm hijacking the show. I should just state this really quick and then
keep going.
and then shut the hell up. The thing about voodoo dolls is the voodoo doll that we know it now actually was created in the United States. Um, it was made in the United States because they were easier to hide. Because originally the voodoo doll or the wooden human, because they were actually carved out of wood. So they were carved out of
Mhm.
wood, and then it was almost like I dare to say this. It was almost like therapy for a lot of the people back in their homes, in their home country, because these people are like, "What's wrong with you?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm having issues speaking in public, or I have issues. I'm very shy." So what they would do is they would take sorry, I'm kind of drunk now, and they would take like a like a piece of wood and they would carve it, right? They would carve it and then they would take like little pricks and then they would like start to like hit the mouth, and then they're like, okay, now you should loosen your tongue. And we're like, you know what? And they say, whenever you feel like you're becoming shy, just kind of like, just prick at this mouth a little bit. Shut up, guys. Prick at this mouth a little bit, and then, your tongue will be loosened. And that's what they would do, so it was like a form of like magical therapy. And who is to say it wasn't magical? A lot of people look at it now and they're saying like, well, that's one of the first forms of therapy, because this is like, holy shit. When you look at the first, um, writings. I mean, when they wrote the book Tarzan, that was like what 1700s, Tarzan of the Apes. There was speaking of type of religion in there from the people that resembled Verdum or Voodoo. So it's that old. It's a lot older than that. So these people were kind of like in a little therapy class because they would reunite with each other and like, what's your problem? It's like, oh, I have an issue with my mother. Well, let me carve you a little thing, and then whenever you
Of your
feel,
mom.
yeah, of your mom. So then when it came to the United States,
Sorry, she's got a bigger butt.
yeah, I'm gonna carve that ass on there, looking like a coffee table and shit. Anyways, want to
What?
rest my
Lord.
magazines on it.
This has
No,
got dark.
I know, literally. So anyways, so it was almost like group therapy, their issues, and then here you have in person, or
Mhm.
or a papa, which was like a leader. That's how you get certain. That's why you get like a lot of high priests, and they're like, I am papa, blah blah blah. and my favorite was from WWF, Papa Shango. Anyways, so so this guy would be in charge, and he would look at your issues, and he would carve them out of wood, and then he would say like, whenever you feel like whatever. It was magic, But in reality, when you look, I say in reality, but what the fuck do I know? But when you look back, you're like, okay, this is kind of like therapy. It's like a coping mechanism. And who is to say it's not magical? So I'm done. Okay, I'll shut up now. I'm sorry, guys. And scene.
I think we watched the same documentary.
Oh.
So I read a really interesting paper on, it's actually called Hoodoo Heritage, A Brief History of American Folk Religion.
Oh.
And it was actually a bachelor's senior thesis.
Yes, okay. So now I'm interrupting because I'm drunk. Okay, so from that, what's interesting is that from that thesis came a really good movie, and then later they turned it into like small parts of like a small documentary. It was called, you probably have heard of it. It's called The Serpents and the Rainbow, and it came from
the American Horror Story.
Oh, I was thinking about Jake the Snake Roberts in WWF. So from that thesis, I'll let you continue. From that thesis came Serpent and the Rainbow, which is fantastic. I love those. Anyways, continue. Go ahead. I'm done now.
Yeah, well, I thought it was really interesting because I always thought voodoo as a polytheistic religion, like there was many gods, but they're very structured.
Yep.
They have one primary god and then sub deities underneath it. And I didn't know that until I read this thesis on voodoo.
It's Moa, the serpent god, I believe. And he fell in love with the rainbow, which is the female counterpart, but she's beneath him because she's a woman and she nags him.
Is there gold at the end of this rainbow?
But there was a lot in this paper that was really interesting to me, but I want Messy, Jesse, and Ash to go ahead with what they wanted to talk about.
I'm going to let Ash go first, because
You
I
go
always
ahead
tend
and
to
go
go
first.
first. Do we need paper, rock, scissors this? Because
literally all of mine was what Decon just said. We watched the same documentary. He stole it.
You watched
it's nothing new.
watched a brief series of Unseasoned in
History
Mbembe.
Channel.
Oh, no.
That's where I watched it.
I have books.
You're watching Discovery Channel?
I thought Discovery
You guys
Channel.
are all education. I'm watching like 90 Day Fiance over here.
I thought History Channel was all motorcycles and like pawn shops.
No, there's like 90 Day Fiance the other way.
The show
90
with
Day the Single Liar.
the show with the midgets.
What show are you watching?
I'd rather not say. I put on my lawyer's whispering in my ear real quick. Yeah, okay. I don't recall.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, exactly. So what's funny is that through Voodoo, it took it came to the United States, right? It came to the United States, and then it kind of also took a small path into the Caribbean, and then from there, Santeria was developed. And then I think Santeria is so much more interesting than Voodoo because it's like a lot of it is so much like Hispanic culture involved in it, and like I said, I've talked in the past about how in places like El Salvador, how you have a witch can terrorize a whole community. It's the same thing in Voodoo and in Santeria. A witch can immediately get whatever she wants. Just like Marie Laveau. I mean, geez, that woman,
She was amazing.
Yeah, she was.
Well,
it depends what side you were on. But
I'm all for her.
But she was she was very, very smart because she actually worked at a salon, out of all places, because women can't.
She was just a hairstylist.
Well, there's a reason for that. I believe the reason why she was a hairstylist is because women can't keep their mouth shut, and all they do is they gossip.
And it's actually true.
I mean,
I am going to have to agree.
Yes.
My hairstylist is my therapist, so it's fine.
Exactly, and that's the whole point. So, women they
I
can't
don't see a
women they
hairstylist.
but yeah,
Okay,
I don't
anyway.
jeez, I don't see one either. But anyway, so they would hear the gossip, and then and this is a theory, by the way, guys. I don't know if this is entirely true, but this is a theory that people had. So she was able to take somebody in the town and approach him, be like, come here, child, come here, child," doing that accent, So
Oh God.
so she would start talking to people, and she's like, "I detect you're having problems at home with your man. He's no come home until 3 a.m, whatever the fuck, whatever it is." And then this lady would be like, "Yeah, that's right. How did you know?" That's
Honestly, that sounds more Romanian than anything.
no,
Like
Yeah.
if it was
vampire,
if it was
blah blah.
no, if it was Romanian, it would be like this: "You have problems at home. I do not care." Um,
Oh my god.
problems at
I
home. It was so she would approach these.
children.
Why are we bringing up old shit?
Okay, continue.
Carry
Anyways,
on.
so then she would tell these people like, "Hey, the spirits have told me that you're struggling with this because your husband blah blah blah, or your sister blah blah blah, whatever it is." And then they're like, "How did you know?" It's like, "Well, the spirits tell me." And it wasn't the spirits. What it was somebody in town was saying like, "Hey, did you hear? Did you hear that so and so's husband doesn't come home until 2 in the morning?" And what's amazing was that she played the system. She was and well, it was between and okay, so I believe in the political system, it was between. Sorry, I am buzzed. It's crazy. I started by drinking early. I had a rough day. And so,
Well, when you're slinging cement.
no, yeah, cement. So,
Whoa. Took an entirely left turn.
anyways, if we can continue. So there was
Yes, I'm.
so there was two people, right, in history. There was two people in history that I believe, as a person of not me, I don't identify with those people. As a person of color, there was two people that actually played the political system to their favor through their intellect, and one of them was Frederick Douglass, who had an extremely great quote, one of my favorite quotes actually. And his quote was, "It is much easier to raise good children than it is to repair broken men." And that's an excellent quote. And the other one
Yes, it is.
was Mary Laveau. Mary Laveau played the system so well, the political system, especially.
She played men too
Yeah,
very well.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I heard she was sexy. Anyways, and so that's the descriptions that were given of her. A lot of people were saying that she had very nice hair. She looked very fertile.
She was
Anyways,
actually
I don't
very,
think it was her hair they were remarking on.
I think she was
Just
very
saying.
beautiful, really, if you
Yeah,
think
it was-
about it.
yeah,
I've
it
seen
was
pictures.
her
Beautiful.
yeah. Well,
Hair.
she was very fertile in her features, and we all know what that means. The hips, anyways. So the point is, she used the system at that time, and she used it to her advantage, and she actually became extremely wealthy. She had a lot of people like under her thumb, judges and all kinds of stuff.
Didn't she marry and murder a bunch of men?
Yeah, they would go missing.
Yes, she did.
They would go missing.
Yes.
But then, I mean, I don't like her for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons was she helped like this wealthy guy's son to get out of a rape case, and then in exchange,
Oh.
so she helped him get out of rape because he had raped multiple women, and then she had told the judge all kinds of things like, "This man, the spirits will come after you," and she put hot peppers in her mouth and all kinds of different shit. In exchange, this rich guy gave her a house. So, but then what's interesting
That
is
would
that
give.
but then, interestingly, 3 years later, this guy. So she ran also the first brothel. That's what's interesting. She ran the first brothel in New Orleans, and this young man who was accused of these things would frequent that brothel, and then he mysteriously went missing one night. So I like to think that she was like, "You all gotta pay it back." But
Sweet
No more tokens
revenge.
for you.
yeah, everybody's gotta pay the man in the river Styx.
So did you guys, and it's interesting when I read up on her that she had 15 children. So that's a lot back in the day.
Well, she was fertile.
Yeah, fertile myrtle, I guess is what they call it.
Oh, her daughter was interesting.
yeah, her daughter also, like, she has family, like, from her daughter that carried on her traditions as well as their practice of voodoo.
I met one of
Didn't
her
they
granddaughters.
take on her name?
Yes.
What was that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they took on her
Yep.
name.
Her daughter
Mhm.
took out her name, and then basically it was almost like it was to fool other people because she had the power. She looked just like her when she was young. So here was this old lady,
Yeah.
and her daughter takes her name, takes her identity, and then she goes to the next town, and they're like, "That's Mary Laveau." You're like,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Marie Laveau. It's like, how did she? It's like, yeah, it's me. I just used this spell, and I'm eternally youthful. So yeah, so then a lot of people started like paying her money for like spells and like youth serums and all kinds of shit. So it was
Played in the blood of young people.
yeah, actually technically snakes, but you know, but it was the same thing. You know what's interesting is I met one of her great granddaughters in New Orleans. But,
Oh, interesting.
But that
Wow.
yeah, but that's a completely different story. We're not going to discuss on the show.
Did you pay a token too?
Anyways, so what's interesting is that how they have like reverence for the dead is that
Yes.
when you go to places, when you go to cemeteries, or as they call them, what do they call them, the cities of the dead, or in Creole,
Yes,
Ciudades
cities of the dead.
mortuarias. You go there and they literally have street names. They have like street names because these are considered cities
Yes,
for
they
dead
do.
people. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go down to Dog Shit Alley, Dog Shit Avenue, and then they go over here. Like,
I've been to her tomb, left my token.
You did?
Yes.
As well.
Oh yes, hell yes. But now it's closed and you can't even get into that cemetery.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
They
Why
closed
is
it
that?
off
redid it.
because vandalism and everything else, so they had to close it
Mhm.
off. But you knew who Marie Laveau's tomb was even before you came around the corner. It was
Yes.
like people would leave money, and I mean, it was it was really something.
they would
When
even
I visited, it was really cool.
they did
Like,
wishes too, didn't they? They would like leave little notes like, "I
Yes.
wish for Charlie to
Yeah.
give my fucking
Yeah.
money back."
Right,
Yeah,
X's
that's what
on
it
her
is.
headstone.
Yeah.
It wasn't there something with the red X?
Yeah, so
Yes.
the
It was a
3
ritual.
X's. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what I found it. Oh, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, so like when you go to places like Haiti and all those kind of places, you have like if you go through a neighborhood and you're just cruising around, you're just hanging out, and then you see a red door, you're like, why is that door red? And they'll tell you like that's a witch's door, and they're like, oh, so either you go there, either you stay away, or you give her a gift if you want her to give you a service of some kind, and she gets to decide. So
That's why my neighbors stay away.
I thought a witch's door was purple.
It's purple here now.
Yeah.
It's purple now. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a red door.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just
Yeah. The red door used to be the sign that you paid off your mortgage.
Heck yeah. Give
Wow.
me 30
Now it
years.
is. Yeah.
Only 100 more
Yep,
years.
30 years.
For me. Yeah. Right.
Man, it's just, but anyways, when we look back, it's just like one of those things like Santeria to me. Just the culture that they have. I know we're not talking about Santeria, we're talking about Voodoo. But Santeria is so similar because a lot of it is the culture is so close to a lot of the culture in El Salvador. Like in El Salvador, you have men that are like, man, that's what you want to be. You want to be men that are manly. Not just, that's why a lot of the women are very like, they want to raise their children, they want to raise their boys to be tough. Vas a ser un hombre. Vas a ser un hombre, vas a ser macho. And they're like, going to be a man, you're going to be manly, you're going to be macho. And in Santeria, they have a group of men. They're called the Abaqua. And the Abaqua are these group of men that wear all white. They go to dances and they don't dance unless a woman approaches them. And then the woman has to kind of entice them and they decide, like whether or not I'm going to dance with this woman. So, and they just stand there.
Sounds like high school.
Yeah, it does. That sounds awful.
Sounds like my damn life.
Why did they go up and go, Olay?
So they approach this guy, right? And then the guy decides, and then people are like, why are those guys over there? Should I go and talk to them? Like, no. Those are Abaqua. Those are the manliest of men. Only another Abaqua can actually begin a conversation with them. And it's just so interesting because in El Salvador, that's the way it is. Like, there's these men that are like very, like, I don't even know what the hell to call it. They're like very like macho, and they just stand there, and like the women love them. The women love the manliness, and it's part of the, you know what I mean? They're attracted and to this like ruggedness, and this guy can not only work the field or he can take care of me, but he can defend me, and all the men are kind of like weary of him. They would never mess with him, and that's what they're attracted to. And it's the same way with Santeria. Like these Abaqua are like the men that the women are like, this guy can protect me, not just physically but with magic, because because they have bembes that are with them, and then the bembes protect them, so it's just, man, it's just like one of those things that when you get involved or you start researching Santeria, it's hard. I guess it also depends like where you're at culture wise. It's hard not to fall in love with that culture. I think with me is I'm so like enticed by Santeria is because it's it hits so close to home. You know what I mean? Only in El Salvador they don't call it Santeria. It's just brujeria. It's just witchcraft. That's it. So anyway, I'll shut up now. Continue. I forgot other people were on this show.
Decon show.
Idiot. Decon's an idiot.
Gonna make a damn doll.
What an idiot. Make a doll.
Staple the mouth shut.
Staple the mouth shut. Put a stupid shirt on him.
That's right. What color are you wearing today?
Black shirt.
What I thought was interesting is some of the European cultures and the African culture seem to cross. Like the fear of mirrors upon a death. So when somebody dies in Europe, right, you wanted to cover the mirror because if because you used to lay out the body in your house, right? And if you saw the reflection in the mirror, the Europeans were afraid that you would then see them over your shoulder. And the African people took that on.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of cross between Africa and European folklore and legends and voodoo. And although the customs are still alive and well, they cross culture. They took each other's, I don't know what to say, but customs and cultures.
Yeah. And I have a theory on that. I don't think it's coincidental. I just think that I think I talked about this in the past. Like, for example, with things like the black dog and all this kind of thing, like what are the odds that it's all around? It's because I think everybody's experienced it, and it's just like, yeah, it's different cultures, but it's the same belief, because it's like, you know what, we have the same thing too. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing with the mirrors, like when I was a kid, all I heard was there's a thunderstorm, cover up the mirrors. There's a funeral, turn the mirrors around.
Thunderstorm, though, I'd never heard that.
Yeah, I've never heard the thunderstorm.
The reason because of the thunderstorm was because the mirror acted like a conductor of so much energy that lightning was going to strike the house because it was attracted to the energy the mirror was like projecting. So they would say, cover up the mirrors, and I would be like, but I don't want to cover up the mirrors. And they're like, and then they were like, oh, I just said my name. Anyways, I'm sorry, a flashback hit me.
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD. Holy shit. So then they would tell me to cover up the damn. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So, and it's a lot of it is just the energy, and it was the same thing in Voodoo, or even in Santeria. In Santeria, I mean, when you want to like really when you want to pass a spirit, not only will you drink booze, because booze actually allows you to open up, and then open up yourself, not just physically, but spiritually, and you become a gateway. And then sometimes they would take you to the back, not that kind of back, guys. They would take you to the back, and in the back there was usually a large mirror, and they would take it to the back of the room, and it was a gigantic mirror. And then they were like, we're gonna pass the spirit, like you're passing a kidney stone. So they would like pass this, they would pass this giant spirit, and that's how they would communicate. Same thing with mirrors. This is crazy. We just had an episode on mirror, guys, so you guys should go back and check it out.
Yes, we did.
Mirrors are creepy.
I like mirrors.
I don't.
They freak me out.
I I don't
I
like
use a lot of it with my practice.
I I don't like mirrors because I look into them and I'm like, this is what I look like.
Pretty much, that's me.
Imagine
But
what you look like in 30 years.
Oh, jeez.
I'll do some of the stuff that I practice in front of a mirror, smoke and things like that, just to try to read it. But yeah, I think what was interesting in some of the research that I did too was the voodoo, the customs of burial. Like if you disrespect the dead, that's when they come back.
Yes.
Like that's when they come back. And so I think somebody then bastardized that for the whole zombie movement, right?
Yeah.
But it was that they would come back, the dead would come back and not necessarily be polite. So typically, if you revered the dead, your family, and all this kind of stuff who passed before you, then they would be your spiritual guides. But if
Yeah.
you didn't do the right practices, oh boy, all bets were off on how they were going to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that's what's insane because when you go to places like Haiti and you see somebody that's been very disrespectful to a person, they'll tell you openly. They'll be like, "I'm gonna make your son come back, and he's gonna become my slave, and he's gonna work my fields." You know,
Yeah.
and it's so dark because people do live in fear, of these kind of things. So you have people out there that claim that they saw their son one night just come out of the tomb, walking towards this direction, and that was the direction of the house, and now he's a slave. You know what I mean? And it's just creepy because, like for example, in a documentary, Serpent and a Rainbow, they talk about that a lot about how there was a man who became a zombie and he was cured of like his zombification, but he died within the year. And people were saying like, of course he died within the year. His body couldn't sustain, like he was supposed to be in the afterlife, and they came back to claim him. So there was people out there when somebody would pass, they would be very not just respectful, but they would kiss the ass of the priest or priestess that runs that area because they were afraid like if you didn't honor them enough, they were gonna take either you or one of your family members as a slave.
Yeah.
Well, there was the case of that one guy. I think he was in Haiti. I'm pretty sure he was, but they have a death certificate for him. They buried him and everything, and he said that this guy came back, brought him back as a zombie. He was a voodoo priest, and then he was a slave of his for years, and then he just wandered into this town, and they discovered who he was.
Yeah.
Fingerprints matched up and everything.
You know what's insane is the fact that I've heard all those cases and there's scientists and like chemists and this is what happened. Okay, I got an explanation for the zombification. Okay, this man ingested. Okay, yeah, that was in Florida. That was Florida man.
They said it was a poison.
Eat your face. I'm gonna eat somebody's face. Anyways,
salt and pepper.
Anyways, so they're saying things like, well, he was probably the people used poisons from the pufferfish liver, and then that's what happened. This person wasn't. But the one thing they don't take into account is that the pufferfish liver is like hundreds of times more potent than cyanide, and cyanide does a very good job of killing people. It's like, okay, if this person had pufferfish liver in his system, wouldn't he be dead?
Yeah, like how many micrograms of that would it take to annihilate someone?
Well, it's not even.
And it doesn't take much.
Not at all. It doesn't take much at all, and it's not even because of what it like, how it affects your nervous system. It's because of what it is. Like the moment that it enters into your system, your brain just shuts down. It's like I don't know what it is, but as soon as it enters your system, it's like your brain is like, well, we're done. And then
bye.
So yeah, exactly. So it only takes the small amount, even like the molecule level. What did they say that the size of a pinhead? Enough of a dose to kill 10 men is the size of the head of a needle, and it's not because of the amount, in your system. It's just the fact that it's in the system.
It's almost like the fentanyl crisis.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, I have two different three different plants growing in the back of my pasture that are all deadly to human. They're actually deadly to everything. Livestock generally won't eat them. I do spray them, but they're back there. And we don't test for them in an autopsy unless they specifically have a reason to test for them. But the death that from these particular plants mimic heart attacks.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. So there's plants in our culture so that are everywhere. There's all kinds of plants that are super duper toxic, but they don't test for them. And some of these plants, there's no known test for them.
Yeah.
I have a book, just so you know.
One of them is anything from the cassava. Cassava is it's basically like yucca and all those kind of things are like, so a yucca, they call it the jungle potato. I mean, in El Salvador, we eat yucca and everything. It's delicious. You fry them, you can boil them, you put salsa on them, you put pork on them. It's delicious. But in its raw form, if you actually take like something like a cheese grater and you like grate it, that has enough cyanide to kill you. Because in its raw form, it's actually potassium cyanide. That's where we get it from. How do you get rid of potassium cyanide? You cook it. That's it. As soon as you cook it, it becomes benign.
It's benign.
And there's cassava in the yucca. There's cassava in yams actually. There's cassava in what's called the arrowroot or cassava root, and it's just that's all it is. And there's a potassium cyanide in it. So there's so many things like out there in nature that it's just growing, and then I think can fuck you up.
I have a friend who spent quite a lot of time in Haiti. She was an attorney, and she had roots in Haiti. So she went back to meet family and all that stuff. And this is a woman who passed the California bar never took law school. She studied, passed the bar, became a lawyer. I mean, she was freaking brilliant. This woman was brilliant, right?
What a phenomenal woman.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so she goes back to Haiti to meet her family, and she swore in a stack of Bibles that she actually saw a zombie, like a man who was walking down the road who was decomposing. And he was not present. And so the theory that what I've read is that they will send the dead out to do their bidding. Yep. So she was scared to death because she said, Colleen, I'm telling you that it was a zombie. It was a zombie. It was a person to do their bidding of somebody who was really pissed off at somebody else. And so they awaken somebody and they go out and do their bidding for them. And it terrified her.
Yeah,
at least it was a Walking Dead zombie and not like a running World War Z zombie.
I know, right? Right? Yeah, I'd be screwed because I can't run anymore. So
Jeez,
I bet the smell is awful.
She said it was really frightening.
Well, yeah, and you know what? And I believe it. Like 100%. If she were to tell me this story, like I was in the aisle.
Are you feeling okay?
And me?
Yeah, are you feeling okay?
No,
you said you believe it.
You believed something. You're not a skeptic.
Anyways, guys, this is a great episode. Thank you guys for joining us.
Who's got the doll? Who's got the doll?
They sold voodoo dolls at the hospital.
Yeah.
At Portland Hospital.
Wait,
yes.
They called them something else. They called them
Poppy dolls.
Oh, what was the term? They didn't call them voodoo dolls. I walked in there, there's this little church lady in there selling them.
Spirit children.
Yeah, they're poppy dolls.
No.
We need to go.
Let's go.
Well, and I walked in there and I'm looking at them and I'm because my dad had to go through all these transfusions, so I was in there and I'm like, I picked one up and I said, "This is a voodoo doll," and she got all offended. She goes, "It is not." I said, "It is a voodoo doll. You're selling them with pins, like pins to stick them in."
Yeah, and the picture was Papa Shango from WWF.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
And for those of you that don't know, because you're too young, look up Papa Shango on YouTube. He was amazing. he caused the ultimate
Yes.
warrior to have all these kind of. Anyways, the point is, if
Made him
somebody,
pee his pants.
if yeah, he was so cool. You know what? I thought I almost came on the show with like a top hat and like with,
Ooh.
yeah,
Black coat.
yeah, with a black coat and blackface.
Little Kane doing this number.
Okay, I guess we can't do that.
Oh,
So
you want to be Papa
but-
Legba.
No. What I was gonna do is, yeah, Papa Legba. I wanted to like do my face black and then look at skull and have like a top hat and the coats, and then cast like a spell on everybody that listens to this show because it's fucking terrible.
would you stop saying that?
We're
I mean,
cool people.
Subscribe and like.
yeah,
People.
like
Yeah.
and subscribe.
I think New Orleans was the first place I ever went in my life that felt like I was going home.
Yes.
The French Quarter
Absolutely.
I
specifically.
wanna
And the
go
first
so
time I
bad.
was there, like I was guiding my friends through the French Quarter and they're like, "How many times have you been here?" I said, "I have never been here, but I know where everything is."
Really?
I felt
That's
totally at
Totally
home.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as soon as I walked out of the French Quarter, it's like that disappeared. Like, yeah, it was. But as soon
Interesting.
as I walked it back into the French Quarter, it was there. I knew where to get the best beignets. I knew everything.
Oh my God.
I went
I
to go
guess
get
you have a
beignets.
past life there.
I know how to make
I'm
those.
wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering.
What if you were like Marie Laveau?
Reincarnated.
Yeah.
Laveau, and you took advantage
You're
of.
Marie Laveau.
Yeah, you took advantage of men. And
I
just
am a
killed
witch,
them.
so who knows?
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, but it is a very like
You dirty witch.
Nice. Oh shit, that's good.
Oh, oh, damn it! Oh, holy shit! I wish I died in a civil war. Oh, damn it!
My God, that
Sorry.
was so good.
Oh. Anyways,
Wow.
oh, holy shit! So, New Orleans
Beads.
beads. Yeah, fucking beads. But it's always like people
Oh.
that you wish they didn't know what beads were. Anyways, so yeah, and it's so interesting because it has such a like an old feel, you know, like the way that New Orleans, you know, the way that the people, especially the people that are like native there and they grew up there, they have like such an antiquitous form of not just speech but mannerisms, the way that they
So
talk to you. Yeah.
yeah. So like when I was there, we had two people. One, his name was Jude, and he was the security guard for the place that we were staying at. Yeah.
You needed a security guard?
Yeah, especially where we were staying. But he was amazing, and he was Creole.
Was he?
And he was just amazing. But he did a map, and he's like, "You go here, but don't go there. Don't go down there."
Oh, that's cool.
You know, I didn't feel any unsafe anywhere down there. I walked everywhere. I walked blocks. I'd walk miles, and I never felt
Unsafe.
because I never felt unsafe. I felt completely at home with everybody there. So
it sounds like we need to make a field trip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm down for
I
it.
want to go so bad, and you guys are making me crave going even more.
I think
Yeah, well,
I like to think
and
that.
Marie Laveau's store is still open.
Oh, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes,
Let's go.
Let's
it
go.
is still
Yeah.
open. I
Let's-
bought a bunch of stuff there. Yeah.
Let's all go.
And there was also a very grisly murder that took place in New Orleans.
Really?
Well,
Very interesting.
There's like a lot.
Well,
There's
yeah.
a lot.
This
Yeah,
one's
what's the
very
one you know?
interesting.
Um,
Yeah.
I always feel like if there was
Y'all
ever like a haunting in New Orleans, like those Creole like ghosts would pop up and go boogie boogie boogie. You know,
I mean, it could happen. You know. I mean, there's zombies walking among us.
yeah, jeez. I just call them like Biden supporters.
So getting canceled.
I'm
I almost
trying.
said something, but I was like,
We probably shouldn't go there.
There's a time and place. But
for everything.
Later.
so really
Yeah.
quick before because we're at 44 minutes. This show flew by.
It did.
Damn. So why do you think so many people are afraid of voodoo? Like you think because it's because
It's
there's
unknown.
you think it's what it is? It's Hollywood.
I agree.
It's not something they're familiar with. People have a fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
And they confuse a lot of voodoo with hoodoo, right?
Well,
I think that's
mean, and they also the thing too you gotta think is they show when like the media and all that kind of stuff, they'll show like the most terrible parts of voodoo and hoodoo.
Yeah.
They'll show like the sacrifices of animals. I will tell you that I have my friend, she does practice voodoo, but she does not do live sacrifices. She just can't. She does practice, but she won't, just because she doesn't have no need. But she has been trained by some of the priests and priestesses that do sacrifice, like chickens and, rabbits, stuff like that.
Yeah. When you go to places oh, go ahead.
Oh, I can see why people get freaked out by animal sacrifices, but I mean, you're going into the store, you're buying chicken or beef or whatever.
Yeah.
That animal was sacrificed so you could eat it. So it's kind of the same thing almost.
In
They're just doing it for
conditions.
religious purposes.
Yes. I think there's
That's
I think that most people think that beef is just packaged.
Yeah.
They don't even think of it as an animal.
No, they don't.
I got into a conversation with a vegetarian once, and she was like, oh, and blah, blah, blah. She gave me her bullshit. So I said, does your animals, do you have cats? And she goes, yeah. And what do you feed it? And she told me, cat food. I'm like, where did they get the meat for that canned food? Did they get it from a meat tree?
A meat tree.
A meat tree, you idiot. So, and that's the thing is, what an idiot. So in those cases, and I'm talking about animal rights, the best moments in that animal's life is the day when he's put down. You know what I mean? Because of how horrible the life is. But when you go to places like New Jersey in certain blocks, or even in Spanish Harlem, you'll find a dead chicken in the corner or something like that. And then you go to touch it, and people are like, don't touch it. That's a Santeria chicken. You know what I mean? And it's just if you know what you're looking for, it's everywhere. Santeria is everywhere. I think right now, I think Forrest Whitaker, I think he is a practicing Santeria guy.
Interesting.
So with my paranormal team, there's a woman in American Falls that practices Santeria, but she does very dark stuff with it. And
that was close.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It almost fell on me. Damn reflexes.
Oh boy. Anyway, we've had to slingshot some stuff back.
That's interesting. And they have such a... Okay, so there was a case that happened in, I think it was Spanish Harlem, where there was this malevolent spirit, if you want to call it. And this malevolent spirit was tormenting this family, and they couldn't get it out. They tried everything. They did the whole smudging thing. They called it names, whatever it was that you want to do. And then this guy comes, call it names. Get out of here, get a job. So then there was this guy. So there was this guy who came in, and he's like, I think this might be the spirit of an ancestor that wants to tell you something. So I think that we need to get blah, 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 whatever it was. So he brings this guy who's a practitioner of voodoo. And this person basically takes this spirit into himself, and he tells him something like, the way you're living your life is not good. And he's convulsing, by the way. He's convulsing on can you imagine the horror that you're experiencing when you see one of your family members just convulsing on the floor and he's telling you things like you're not living your life right, you're destroying your life, you're destroying your family, all kinds of things. And then after the message was done, he expels the spirit, and then after.
Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, Alka-Seltzer, foaming at the mouth like it was the movie Little Giants. Anyways, so he's doing all these things, but then after the people said that there was no longer any paranormal like in their home, it's almost like this guy felt like one of your ancestors is really pissed off at you and he wants to tell you something, you know. And then when I asked him, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why do you, like, what was going on? You're like, well, he was dating this chick, and this chick was on drugs, and it was tearing the family apart, and he was considering, like, yeah, it's this whole thing. Yeah, this was in Pocatello. No, I'm kidding. So this chick was on drugs, and he says that he was considering, because she was always like pressuring him during the relationship, like, you should just try it once, it'll make you feel blah blah blah, and he was considering it. So then, like, after this whole experience, he cut this chick loose and, whatever. So I guess what I'm trying to say is women ruin everything.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
Anyways.
And with that, I think our episode is over.
So thank you guys for joining Nightmare Road. I, of course, was one of your hosts, and this was a really good episode. This is such an interesting topic. We can go through we just have so many topics that I think that we can just go on for hours, because it's just, I don't know, we might come back to this, maybe with some scary stories or like scary hauntings or the life of Marie Laveau. You never know. We'll surprise you guys. So check out, and for those of you people that are like broke people watching the show on the free feed on YouTube, if you guys ever get a second job and like do something with your life and become a success story, you guys can hop on Patreon.
You can give up one coffee a month to get on Patreon.
One coffee a
month.
One
coffee.
Get on Patreon. And if you guys can't afford that,
That's
because, whatever, you have to pay your voodoo priest or priestess, and you're like, all my money's going to them, then you guys can like and subscribe on the show, share the show, tell people about it. Yeah, I got an idea. If you guys hate me, you guys should really get back at me by telling people about the show and making them like and subscribe. So, but anyways, guys, this was a great show. I actually had a lot of fun. I can't believe it's already been an hour. That's crazy.
I know.
It's just having so much fun.
Yeah, it was good. I'm just
talking about people walking around and voodoo dolls and
say doo-doo dolls. That's gross. So anyways, guys, remember to always look both ways, especially if you find yourselves on Nightmare Road.
Woo.